are back. So our next guest has combined her rich Indigenous heritage with her passion for chocolate by creating Raven Rising, a unique chocolate company where tradition meets temptation.
Here to tell us more about her journey is award-winning chef and entrepreneur Tammy Maki. Welcome to the show. Chef Tammy, thank you so much for being here. Now, before we taste your confections, you've actually shared that you are adopted, but it wasn't until a few years ago that you discovered you were part of the 60s scoop. Wow. How did you find out this part of your history?
So I grew up knowing about my Indigenous heritage because my family ensured that I was registered with my band. But I always thought that my mother had given me up. So when the 60s settlement was happening, my older brother, Gary, who was my blood brother, said, well, we should apply for it and find out. They always lose our records kind of thing. So it was okay, not putting much store in it. And it did come back that we were 60s scoop. And as we got further into the journey, I found out actually that I was taken from my mother and placed into foster care. But luckily, I was, adopted into a great Finnish family. So, yeah, the settlement was, I know everyone gets kind of angry that we got money for it, but it took away our heritage and our family, right? And I only saw a picture of my mother, my blood mother, when I was 55.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Tammy, how did learning about this family history change the course of your career?
So my career had already been set. I was already a pastry chef, but when I was finding out about this, I was opening up this business. And I thought I really wanted to invite everybody on the journey, finding my Indigenous side, my Indigenous self, celebrating stories and ingredients. So it was a very kind of auspicious thing to have happen. So that's, Raven Rising is very personal to me. My story is very personal. And I want everyone else that's coming into this to relate to me on that level.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Talk to us about the realities of securing financing and grants as an female Indigenous business owner.
Well, I always said anybody starting a business has a difficult time finding grants. People aren't walking around handing out money. It's a lot of work. For me, unfortunately, there was that 60s scoop out of province aspect. So monies come from, they're dispersed federally, and then they're trickled down into the provinces. And then that adds that extra layer of bureaucracy and red tape. And because I'm considered out of province, I know, out of province, right? Through no fault of my own, I'm 60s scoop. And I'm in Ontario, I should be entitled to those monies, but it's not the way that it works. Wow.
Because you come from Saskatchewan, so they see you as out of province in Ontario, even though you were taken from Saskatchewan. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's, everything's a tap dance when it comes to money, right? So unfortunately, or fortunately, I was able to secure financing in a traditional manner, but I carry a massive debt load now. So
as a result.
Yeah.
I mean, you have recently made a decision about Raven Rising. Can you tell us what that decision is?
I'm so excited. Yes. I am moving Raven Rising from my home base of Sudbury, and I'm actually moving to White Bear in Saskatchewan.
Oh, yeah, you're going home. You're going home.
I'm going home. I'm so excited. Yeah, it's, I've never lived there. I've never been surrounded by community. I want to grow that business. I want to hire people from my First Nation. I want to also start a trades training facility, hopefully accredited on our First Nation as well, and start an Indigenous food tourism hub. So
wow.
we love that.
Wow. That's extraordinary, Tammy. What do you think? Is it time we dig into some of these extraordinary, beautiful creations?
Absolutely,
We're going to start with one of
absolutely.
your famous bonbons called the elderberry. So tell us about it, and we'll eat.
I brought my cheat notes. So the elderberry and the elderflower are
one
the
is it?
purple one.
Okay.
So when you eat a bonbon, you're going to put the entire thing in your mouth, on your palate. And then what's going to happen, it's like a wine tasting, right? So there's different nuances in chocolate. There's different nuances in the filling. So the chocolate is going to go onto your palate first. And it's a lovely 65% Anaya from cocoa berry, right? It's beautiful. It's not bitter. It's not sweet.
beautiful.
It's just
Really
perfect.
good. Are there more of those?
And the elderberry and elderflower is very mellow. They're from the same plant. Obviously, one's the berry, one's the flower, and used by Indigenous people, like the entire plant was. In fact, the stem were used, they took the pith out and they made whistles and flutes out of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So
And the
good.
second
I'm a
one?
chocolate snob, and I'm just like in heaven
So
over
good.
here.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the ingredients, you talk about the importance and the challenges of sourcing traditional Indigenous ingredients for your chocolate. So why is it so difficult?
Oh my God, because Indigenous ingredients are just not on the map at all. Even though probably 75 to 80% of what we eat is Indigenous. We are the original farm to table. You can't go on reserve and forage and sell it in mainstream. It's just not what, red tape allows, right? So maybe that'll change someday. We're hoping to do that a little bit, when I go back to the First Nation.
Yeah. All right. Next we have the Manamoon Tea Bonbon. Let's talk to us about this one.
Okay, so Manuman is actually, it's all good, is all wild rice. And it is sourced from northern Saskatchewan, close to my heart.
We just pop it in?
Same thing, right on your tongue. So Manuman, I toasted the wild rice a little bit in the oven, and then I steeped it. And it makes a tea, and then I introduce it into the ganache, and I put it in 64%. It's an extra bitter Guayaquil, but it's not bitter at all, right? Okay, and it's like a little nutty, right? And it's really kind of warm and comforting and beautiful, and
And
it's-
perfection.
Yeah.
Are there more of those ones too, or? Okay.
A few more in the box right there.
Wow.
Chef Tammy, thank you so much. You are incredibly talented.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, everyone needs to check out Raven Rising, and don't go anywhere. We're gonna be right back.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.